This video is sponsored by LexCorp, boldly going where no company has gone before. Imagine this scene. You're in a bank vault halfway through a heist that'll set you up for life, when suddenly the lights go out. You hear the rest of your crew screaming, there's a few gunshots, and then silence. You call for your partners in crime, but none respond. Suddenly, the lights come back on, and stood between you and the exit is the Batman. The terror of criminals, scourge of the Gotham underworld, the world's greatest detective and one of the greatest martial artists to ever live. Imagine how calm, how confident, how straight up badass you've got to be to stand up to him. Well, one man isn't afraid of the big bad bat. In fact, he's made it his mission to take up Batman's time while you get on with the crime. And that's what makes Killer Moth so cool. We're shining a light on Drury Walker, also known as Cameron Van Cleer. One of the first villains you can call anti-Batman. You know how the Dark Knight swoops in to save the innocent from crime? Well, Killer Moth swoops in to save crime from Batman. Let's see how he gets on in his first appearance ever in Batman issue 63. The cocky son of a bitch, he literally has his own Moth signal as well, and this introductory text explicitly states that Killer Moth can match the Batman's every weapon. Surely the Dark Knight has met his match now. Between exhilarating games of drop the soap and toilet winemaking, there's not a whole lot to do to whittle time away in Gotham City prisons. But this inmate here has just thought of a fun way to spend his sentence, by pondering the true identity of the Batman. When the man's finally released, his prison pastime has snowballed into a new passion for crime. He takes the name Cameron Van Cleer and buys a mansion before using his fresh identity to hobnob with the Gotham elite. Please don't laugh that they call his life gay. He never forgets his roots though, as his men carve a secret cave beneath his mansion. A favour they pour more blood, sweat and tears into than they would have liked when Van Cleer betrays them after a job well done. Now, years of studying Batman has made Van Cleer such a master on the subject, he believes he can stalemate the Caped Crusader. And now he's sworn to become the antithesis of Batman in every way. Colourful costume, Moth-mobile, Moth signals for criminals to summon him, a crime obscuring laboratory. The dude's got it all, he's gone all in. Here is a great example of the unhinged awesomeness that is Killer Moth. Flashing his revolver, he tells of how his little friend is worth 6 robins. This insidious insect has all he needs to take on the Batman. But first, he's got a dinner date with Bruce Wayne. Wayne and Van Cleer are now associates, thanks to both being involved with the local museum. But don't worry, the boring museum talk gets cut short by the sudden bat signal blazing in the skies. Or, in Cameron's eyes, the Moth signal. Both secretive socialites scurry off to don their costumes. Killer Moth gets to the crime scene first, ready to help the wise guys blow the cops away. But before he can be much help, a second masked mystery man makes the scene. Finally, these two titans clash. First blood goes to Batman when he boots Moth's weapon from his grasp, but... oh, hang on a minute. Moth wins! He uses the Moth-mobile's weapons to gas Batman and Robin unconscious. Killer Moth won. That was easy. But even after getting the upper hand on Batman, Killer Moth knows he can do even better. He demands Batman take him to the Batcave so he can copy more ideas for his own secret hideout, or else Robin dies. He's not satisfied with just winning, he wants to hit his full potential. We can all learn a thing or two from Killer Moth here. You gotta reach for the stars. Just because Robin dresses dumb doesn't mean he is dumb. He hasn't survived so long as Batman's partner by accident. He escapes the trap by increasing the weight on the ropes and manages to alert the police to Batman's plight. Robin even manages to alert Batman himself, so he doesn't have to reveal the cave's secrets to Moth. But unbeknownst to them, Killer Moth has tuned in to the same channel. No more threats, no more schemes, it's time for action. Batman and Killer Moth battle atop a suspension bridge, but Moth matches Batman's every move until one of his own plots is his undoing. Slipping on his own moth grease while trying to trip up the Dark Knight, Van Cleer plummets to the cold, murky waters below. Is this the end of Killer Moth? Let's read issue 64 and find out, but based on the story's intro page, I'm gonna say no. I see. So his wings work like Batman's cape and they slowed his fall long enough for him to survive hitting the water, but his reputation might have drowned instead. Some of the gangsters catch Moth looking all washed up. They'll never trust him to protect them from Batman now. Moth needs a new edge. He has to prove he's Batman's superior, and he needs to do it soon. Like a message from God, the museum both Bruce and Cameron direct just installed newly discovered Moth idols from Mexico. What are the chances? KM sneaks back over in the dead of night and swipes the statues from their hidden vault, hoping this heist will repair his rep. Batman and Robin get back on the case of Killer Moth when they find his signature at the crime scene, cocky get. But the vault's location was known only to those on the board of directors, and we know it wasn't Bruce Wayne. One of these four men is the man behind the Moth. The board holds an emergency meeting to decide what to do, and Van Cleer sees an opportunity to swipe another statue. During a brief recess, he takes the idol and hides it in the forgery testing lab. But this time, like a moth to the flame, Batman is drawn to the crime. Moth falls into Batman's trap and another showdown between Crusader and criminal begins. Moth isn't screwing around, he's absolutely willing to run the bat through with that spear, but Batman's too quick for him. Batman even manages to pin Moth down in this very suggestive manner. Only Moth again escapes justice with a lucky strike pinning Batman beneath clutter. But the meeting's break time is up and both return to the board to find their fight had been photographed in X-ray. The developing footage could reveal the Moth's true identity, or it could reveal Batman's. Bruce manages to explain the X-rays away as a professor's research, but that just gets Van Cleer suspicious. He already believes Batman could be a board member, and now all his attention is on Bruce Wayne. Moth tests his new theory by calling in a fake bank robbery while he spies on Wayne Manor, but the results are inconclusive. It's not all bad news though, as his Moth signal again lights the night. The local criminals seem to have regained trust in their wannabe saviour, but there's still the little problem of Batman and Robin. Moth must be losing his cool because he panics, escaping by crashing through glass. But he won't have to worry much longer, as the original crime wave of Killer Moth is about to splatter against the windshield of justice. The museum's board of directors are moving the remaining Moth idols tonight, so it's Van Cleer's last chance at glory. Oh, and Van Cleer drinks milk instead of coffee. What a weird piece of trivia to drop so late in the story. And of course, Moth's mastery of the Gotham underworld was not meant to be. Batman and Robin head Moth off in the history of electricity section, and blasting him with ultraviolet light reveals Moth's identity to Batman. And it's so dumb, mate, because it was the milk drinking that gave him away. Apparently milk glows under ultraviolet light, so after Batman saw it, he just followed Van Cleer home and apprehended him. Bleeding milk! Goddamn. Ah well, it was the 50s, I suppose. Until the end, I was quite enjoying the debut of Killer Moth. I love the idea of him being a Batman for the criminal element, making his money doing what no criminal wants to do, confronting the Batman head on. I did notice they never really addressed Killer Moth's suspicions of Bruce Wayne being Batman. His initial try to trick him didn't prove anything either way, so he should still be a bit weary of Wayne. This was his introduction, but it isn't the most well-known Killer Moth caper. That goes to the next story on our list, the $1 million debut of Batgirl, featuring our favourite fluffy scaled foe. That's right, Batgirl's first ever supervillain confrontation was with Killer Moth. Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara, prepares a gender-swapped Batman costume for the police masquerade ball, wanting to show she isn't just some nerd. But on her drive up, she comes across trouble as Killer Moth strikes once again at Bruce Wayne, attacking the billionaire's limo. He uses his cocoon gun to get Bruce in a sticky situation, and this time, the Moth flutters in an eclipse. Editor's note, Google says a group of moths is called an eclipse. Killer Moth's reputation must be in absolute tatters after last time if these two stooges are all that'll hench for him. Batgirl kicks both of his goons' asses, and then things get infinitely worse for Killer Moth. Batman shows up. Just as Moth gets the upper hand on Barbara, he's forced to retreat as the Dark Knight rises. The next day we get some insight on what Killer Moth's plan even was. He and his cohorts were attacking Wayne to force him into a protection racket. Wayne pays and they leave him be. But of course, Wayne refuses. And that mugs Moth right off. Now bear in mind, Killer Moth has already fallen from grace in the eyes of the criminal underworld. His image is already tarnished by his last defeat. He can't let Bruce Wayne get away with this disrespect. So he decides Wayne must die. His henchmen, larvae and pupa, for God's sake man. His henchmen keep watch at Wayne Manor, and when the time is right, Killer Moth lives up to his name. Bruce Wayne is shot dead for daring to defy the master criminal's demands. That's it fellas, he's done it. Batman is dead, and it was at Killer Moth's hands. We had a shaky start, but old Van Cleer certainly lived up to his reputation. What do you mean that's only half the issue? Bruce Wayne is Batman and Batman is now dead? How can there be more? Oh, hang on. Batgirl strikes again. Why can't these three buff dudes handle one slim woman? I know she's a karate master or whatever, but Moth and crew have a huge size advantage. Oh god, Batman's still alive? Batman and Robin squish larvae and pupa, and though Killer Moth escapes again, his schemes are further exterminated when we discover it was a dummy of Bruce Wayne they shot. It was all a setup. But look at how excited he is when he thinks he's killed Bruce Wayne. I don't have the heart to tell him. Speeding back to Moth Mansion, the villain spots Batman and Robin at his front door, but he's in too good a mood to let these do-gooders spoil it. Oh, Killer Moth had more than just them two henchmen. That's nice, but they don't make much difference. I love this idea that now his Cameron Van Cleer identity's been blown, Killer Moth kept his mansion and just turned it into an evil lair. Look at how he's decorated, there's no explaining this to house guests. Sadly, we knew going in that Killer Moth was never going to defeat Batman, never mind Batman and two sidekicks. But what I want to focus on is Killer Moth's pure audaciousness. No other villains want to fight Batman, most do all they can to avoid him altogether. But Killer Moth gears up knowing he's going to end up fighting Batman, and he does it with style. Even here, he's outnumbered, his goons have all been defeated, but he still jumps out ready to go down swinging. Moth may have lost the caper, but he's won a fan in me. I'm such a little bitch for this kind of bad guy, normal men seeking their fortune in a world of gods. A crazy costume and a fun gimmick will get you pretty far in my book. Batman's got a few of these creative lunatics like Crazy Quilt or The Eraser, and I always have fun reading about them more than big, powerful supervillains. The idea of specialising in slowing Batman down is a great hook. I just think he underestimated what Batman can do. Usually I'm not a big fan of evil versions of the hero, but Moth's tenacity and the fact that neither he nor Batman have superpowers gave them a fresh spin on the concept. Just like with my boy Shocker, Moth is seen as sort of a joke nowadays, and I'm fuming. He's one of the only bad guys to be excluded from the Arkham series aside from one Easter egg, and he's never had a chance in the DCAU, which is still the most popular version of these characters. It's a big shame. I would have loved to have seen Killer Moth in a Chris Nolan Batman film. Imagine a realistic Killer Moth, that would have been sick. What's your take on Killer Moth? Let me know, because I loved him.